Hello, Shire Nation. We are here at the Willoware Family Medical Practice launch party. I am here with psychologist Liz Gould. Liz, welcome to the show.
Yeah, hello. Thanks for having me.
We have an icebreaker first to kick things off. And the icebreaker question I've been given is, are you good at telling jokes?
I am notoriously bad at telling jokes. I always screw up the punchline. I can never get any kind of intonation or tone right. I just fumble my words. I am just the world's worst joke.
That's okay. I wasn't sure if you were leading with a joke there and you were going to hit me with a punchline, but that's fine.
Absolutely not. It's not my forte.
That's fine. Tell me about what you do. Tell me about where you're working. Give us an overview of what you do.
Yeah, so I'm a psychologist. I'm absolutely love my career. Had really amazing and privileged experiences. At the moment, I've got some open books. I'm just starting with my mate Luke from About Time Psychology, just
Good
down
bloke?
here.
Generally good bloke?
Yeah. Well, sometimes, yeah. Only on a Monday, but really excited to get stuck back into private practice. It's been a few years. There might be some shy people who recall me. Being in practice about 10 years ago.
Oh, really?
I'm back. Really excited.
Well, we're glad to have you back in the Shire. Tell me about your special interests, because you were talking about some special interests in workplace wellbeing.
Yes. Yeah. So my career history, I've had, a whole spectrum of different opportunities and clients. I've trained as a sport and performance psychologist, so I spent 10 years working with Australia's elite athletes, and also some weekend warriors as well.
Oh, weekend warriors, yes, we know them.
But then the last decade of my career has definitely been in workplace wellbeing. So really supporting people who are normal people. They don't necessarily have any, strong clinical diagnoses, but they're going through some situational stuff that's usually as a result of work, bullying, harassment, toxic culture, toxic workplaces. And so I've really spent the last decade working specifically in frontline health workers and emergency service workers, really looking after their well-being. These are the important people who look after our well-being. And so burnout, was a huge issue during COVID, post-COVID. So I've spent a lot of time, working with those different populations and supporting them to support us.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much important there. We know burnout's a problem in emergency workers, in any frontline workers, to be honest. And the rate of turnover it's really confronting. Oh. It's really confronting.
Shocking, and especially for new and early career medical and allied health professionals. That first 5 years, it's a huge, exponential growth that happens in your career. And, mentorship and support is really important for JMOs, for new grad nurses, for new allied health professionals. And, the psychological safety that they get in the workplaces isn't always there. And so it's really important when I'm working with them that I'm looking at what are some of the protective factors that they already have in place, but also too, what are some of the things that they can do to look after themselves? What are the routines that they can put in place? What are the controllables? And making sure that, we do that consistently, and we build that support village around us, we build that support practice around us to really minimize that burnout. And it can creep up.
And there's a really good economic argument, not just an individual person argument, because it's a real shame when any frontline worker burns out on an individual level. That is a person with a family, there's a person who has worked really hard to get to the position they're in. But economically, it's also a huge cost to the taxpayer to retrain and fill those positions.
Yeah.
And meaningful work is just so important for people. Meaningful work is so good for your health.
Yeah.
So, if you had to give us some suggestions how to stay healthy at work, what would you say?
The biggest tip that I often give people is really looking at your third space. And by that, what I mean is, we're going to go to work, and sometimes it's going to be stressful and it's going to be quite hard and difficult. We're going to have good days. We're going to have lunch with our colleagues. We're going to have coffee conversations, which is going to be great. But some days are going to be a bit hard. And especially on those days where it is hard, understand what you need between work and home. And that's what we call the third space. How are you transitioning so you're not bringing that, the guff and the stress and the stuff, you're not bringing that back into your home space, which we would hope would be your safest, happiest, healthiest space. Yeah. And so that transition point, what we call the third space, and for some people it's pulling into the driveway and it's sitting in the car and doing 2-minute mindfulness. It's things that are as simple as that, really clearing the head, clearing up, mindset, so you can actually open the door, get through the garage, get in and say, hey, everyone, I'm home,
Yeah.
and you've just cleared your head of all of that. So you're not sliming anyone once you get home, and you're really putting some of that negativity and that stress into your household. So really working with people on how to define and how to refine that third space. And that goes the other way as well. You could have had, no sleep because you've just got a new baby, or, your dog's been barking all night, those kind of things. How do you actually make sure that you get from home to work and you arrive well so you can perform well?
I think that's a really important concept. I think it's hard because when you're under stress at work, and I've worked in ED, not for very long, for maybe 6 months as an SRMO, and the stuff you bring home is not necessarily your fault, but it is still a conscious decision how you walk in that door.
It is.
And I'm not putting it on people that it's their fault that they've been exposed to these quite confronting things.
Traumatic.
But if we can control what we can control when we come home to our family, all the better, all the more empowering.
Yeah.
Well, Liz, can you tell us where people can find you, if you have socials, or if you want to give your practice details?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with About Time Psychology. We're based here in Cronulla. The handle is, I think, About Time Psychology. And yeah, I've got some availability. So if anyone's interested and needs some support, give us a call and check in with us, and we're happy to help you.